Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're in the right place at the right time. Today must be Tuesday, and it must be 5 o'clock. I am here in Studio A, and we have Miss Fiona over in Studio B. How you doing, Miss Fiona?
I can't complain, Dr. Ron. How are you today?
I'm still glad to be alive, baby. That's my testimony, and I am sticking to it. It's a
Awesome.
beautiful day in the city of Chicago, and I have lived long enough to see it. It's like 80 something degrees out there with a summertime humidity that make you feel like 90. I enjoy this time of year because I can't deal with that snow in the wintertime. That snow in the wintertime is not my forte. But I am enjoying this, like you was on
hmm
Sunday. You was out there hanging out, all on the outside doing a Black History moment and stuff. So I know you
hmm
understand what I'm talking about.
I sure do. I like that fresh air.
You like that fresh
hmm
air? Well, I like the air
I do.
conditioner.
But
It's fresh too. Okay. That's what's
true.
up. It's fresh air in the inside. Okay.
It,
And it's 74 degrees all the time. Okay. I ain't playing. I make sure I'm
consistent.
comfortable. When I come in the house, I want to make sure I'm
hmm
comfortable. That's what I pay all them high dollars for, to make sure that I am comfortable. Yes.
I hear you.
Yeah.
hmm
Well, we got a really, really great guest on the show today. Mr. Robert Saunders is back with me. He was with me over 10 years ago on the show, bringing a lot of good information about, housing and programs in the state of Illinois and how you can get help when you need it. So let's get to this announcement so we can get him on the air with us. We don't want to waste a moment. We want to hear everything he got to say. Okay. Excuse me, you all. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is I know we're not talking about the healthcare heroes anymore, but we're still talking about our spiritual leaders, the heroes that have been on the front line with us, help keeping us motivated, keeping us encouraged during this pandemic. Now, newsflash, I just saw a CDC report today that says that we are not out of the woods. Okay. So
mm
I encourage everyone to go do some research on their own and look what the CDC is saying about continue to wear a mask. Don't be in a hurry to go places because it may be premature, the fact that we out here turning up, as the kids would say. Okay, so be very careful. Okay, go get some knowledge for yourself. But giving a shout out to all of the spiritual leaders and all the pastors that are on the front line. We love to do that each and every time we go live. And a special shout out to Dr. Hunt, Lord Michael Hunt, who is my mentor. I like to talk about him all the time because, he has been encouraging us the entire time, every day that the pandemic was on and going on and going on and going on. He always has something to tell us about that will keep us encouraged. Okay. So a lot of people may have not have heard of Dr. Hunt. Well, let me tell you where you can find Dr. Hunt. If you go over to ask-dr-ron.com, when you get there, scroll up to the top. When you get to the top, you will see all of my social media. Go to the Twitter tab. Click on the Twitter tab. No, I said Twitter, didn't I? I meant to say YouTube tab. Go to the YouTube tab. See, I'm getting ahead of myself. And click on the YouTube tab, and you will see an entire playlist devoted to Dr. Hunt. You'll also see Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of my social media. So you'll be able to check on those, become friends with me, like and share all of the things that you do when you go to a social media outlet. Scroll down. When you scroll down, you will see a lot of information. And you'll come to a place where you'll see my affiliates. You'll also see um, my advertisers, people that have been with me for a while, and we need you to support them because they keep us doing what we are doing here on this show. So please support all of our advertisers. We got Portuguese and Sam, who brings in some of the best wine from all over the world. We also have tax consultants on there. We also have RRJ Web. If you're interested in designing a website, you will definitely need to talk to RRJ Web. And we also have um, advertisers that Miss Fiona's going to tell you about it right at this time.
Good afternoon, everybody. The first advertiser that I'm going to talk about today is Kidtropolis Child Care, located at 8104 South Hostage Street. They are enrolling children from 6 weeks to 6 years old, and during the school year, taking before and after school students. They will be having an open house on July 24th from 12 to 3 p.m., 12 to 4, sorry. If you're interested in coming to see the facility, you're more than welcome to come. Other than that, you can call. You can find their information on AskDrRon.com. And the other company that we have is my very own. It's Immaculate Education, and you can find that at immaculateeducation.com. While right now it's being rebranded, we are still offering tutoring and educational business coaching and consulting if you are interested. And you can also find this information at drron.com.
All right. So you all keep those announcements in mind. Please support our vendors, our advertisers. Check out all the people that are on the website. Just click on the banner or the information, and it will take you directly to their website, and you can get all the information you need. I need to make a couple of shout outs. I got my brother in broadcasting, Mr. Chris Bays. Shout out to Mr. Bays. He says, "What's up, Dr. Ron and Fiona?" All the way from Australia. She says, "Good morning, fabulous souls." Miss Karen. You missed Miss Karen, Fiona. She was on with me a little while back. And she's shouting out to all the other people that are on the line. Great to see you back, Miss Fiona. Miss Karen
Thank
said.
you.
Chris Bass is flirting all the way over there in Australia, talking about good morning, Karen. Jed, he said Bass loved the show today. So Bass had a show today. Thank you, Jed. Bass responds, glad to see you enjoyed the podcast. All right. So, glad to have our loyal listeners on base with you all today. Notice I said Bass and I didn't mean Chris Bass, Boom Shakalaka at that particular time. But our loyal fans are tuned in. Maybe I'll say it like that because we got good information coming your way today. Today, I'm so excited to have my brother and good friend. Over 10 years ago, Robert Sanders came on my show and he was bringing gold nuggets about how to save your house and how to, not get into, mortgage trouble, things of that nature. And we became very good friends since that time. I mean, I always call him up and check on him and his family. We talk from time to time. He keeps me informed. He sends me confidential information. I hope I didn't get him in no trouble. Every time that his organization is getting ready to move in a different direction, when they get something, they get it hot off the press from the state, and they're aware of it. So I am so glad to have him back on my show because I know he's going to be bringing some gold nuggets again today, all the way from the south side of Chicago. Mr. Robert Saunders. Welcome back to the show, my brother.
I guess I can unmute myself now.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Now, welcome back to the show, my brother. We'll start there. Take two.
Thank you for welcoming me on your show again. I do remember, actually, it may have been 10 years. I think it was over 10 years though.
Okay.
But when I first sat on your show and I first met you, I think that there was something when we first met when I worked at Partners in Community Building over on 35th and State back then that that gave us a special bond, a special connection, and I just want to thank you for having me on your show, and then meeting Miss Fiona Cross. Miss Cross, I am a
Yes.
Cross also. My mother's maiden name was Cross, so we have to talk. We have to talk offline because most of the crosses that I met, I was
Hmm.
related to them either directly or indirectly. All the way,
Wow.
all the way from Mississippi.
We
Wow.
say me.
So same here. So
Wow.
we may actually we're gonna talk about that because there's a lot of us.
I
Wow.
agree.
You shaking your head, yeah. So and most of us I've found that I was related to. So
Wow.
yep.
Yeah,
So
see, y'all done
you
found y'all
got
cousin, and y'all didn't even have to go to
Right. Didn't even
DNA.com
know.
to do it.
well, she
They
got
got
some of
that
the
DNA.com where y'all find all y'all relatives. Y'all didn't have to do that.
that's right.
Y'all just showed up on the Dr.
Well,
Ron show. See how easy it
she's
is?
got the
Right.
native. She's got those features. She's got some of the features on that side. They're Native American. Our family was Native American,
Hmm.
going all the way to the East Coast. So
Well,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
my granddad had over 30 kids, so we might be.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And look,
they were known.
she
They were known
from
for that too.
look, and she from Connecticut. You said East Coast.
That's right, East Coast.
Yeah.
We were never slaves.
Okay.
Our family
Mm,
were never slaves.
All right.
So we were
we
indigenous. We've always been here. So I learned that about our family from the East Coast. I learned that about from we have some in Massachusetts, and
okay.
so yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
have
we
to
have
talk
to talk.
because that is very interesting to just know that. But most of them, I found that out. So I'm not going to argue that point. I also want to say that Dr. Ron, we met 10 years ago. We met at the height of the largest at that time foreclosure crisis in American history.
Mm-hmm.
I call it the big smoke because a lot of people at that time were losing their homes, and most of the people that were losing their homes were African Americans here in Cook County. And I'm going to say this: um, when I first came back, I've been a supervisor for housing counseling for 11 years. And all right, son. Um, and I'm going to tell you that I had the opportunity to speak with the deputy director at that time of HUD. And this, and I didn't realize who the man was. We were sitting at a NeighborWorks training event, and we happened to be at dinner at the same table. And we were just talking. And he asked me what it was that I did, and I was just coming into housing counseling. And he told me at that time, and this was an African American man. Uh, he said that you will be a life changer. That's the first thing he said. And then he said, you are on the front lines of, of the biggest thing that's going to affect African Americans as it pertains to housing since the days of Reconstruction.
Hmm.
He said they're going to lose their generational wealth. He said, and you're out there to help them. He said the biggest source of generational wealth is real estate that a black person can own. He said our kids have went to colleges. He said we have built, invested in other things through our homes. He said if we lose that, He said, we're going to be in a conundrum. And
Mhm.
sure enough, what he did say, that rang true.
Yeah.
Uh, it rang true because what's happened across the south suburbs, what's happened across the southland of Chicago, when some people lost up to 63% of their equity in their homes at that time. That was when I had came on the scene. That's when I met Dr. Ron. We
Yeah.
had programs at that time, such as the Illinois Hardest Hit, the Cook County Mortgage Foreclosure
Excuse
Mediation.
excuse me one second. I think you got a volume on somewhere behind you. I hear it. Is there like something else that's echoing the
You,
show?
do you still hear it?
Keep talking.
Hmm. You still hear it?
Yeah.
Is that you
Yeah, I
still hear
do.
it? That it?
Yeah. Yeah. Something is volume is up too high. Yeah. Okay, try it now.
Well, can you?
Can you still hear us?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I hear
Yeah.
you loud and clear.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah. It just seems like we're getting like you got your did you have your cell phone on Facebook?
I got it is on. It is on there. Let me just do this here.
Yeah, just
I
take
know.
yeah. I think that's where it was coming from. Maybe the feedback from the actual it's a loop. Yeah.
Is it? Can you hear it now? Is the loop gone?
Let me see. Yeah, it appears
All
to be
right.
gone. Yeah. Yeah. Because I was
All
hearing
right.
myself through on your end. Right quick before you go back to that point, because Miss Karen will not stay with us long. She said 30 kids. Wowzer. That's impressive. She just wanted to make a comment because Karen is all the way over in Australia and she doesn't stay with us long because she'll get up and go to the beach in a few minutes and she won't be
30
on.
kids.
Yeah. Yeah, she's talking about Fiona's family. The
Oh yeah, 30
one of
kids.
the grandparents had 30 kids, you know, so she caught that. So she'll get up and go to the beach in a little bit because she's living that life over in
My grandmother
Australia.
had 13.
Okay, so we know your bloodline was busy. Okay.
More than one, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yep, she says it's
That's a
eight.
lot.
She says beach, ha ha ha, 8:18 a.m. here. So she's over there early in the morning.
Early.
Yeah, so she might be at the beach by 9 instead of 8. So going back to what you were just saying about the housing crisis, because that was a crisis, and it was so many people that had lost homes and suffered, during that mortgage crisis. But yet your program was able to help many people survive during that mortgage crisis and that housing crisis. And, that was the beginning. And then, we, socially got together and love you to death with your wife. I mean, a lovely family, and y'all tolerate me. So that's a beautiful thing. Anybody that tolerate me 10 years got to be all right, So,
Hmm.
and if you look fast forward to now, 2021, we're back at square one, same thing all over again. The pandemic, totally unpredictable. Doesn't have anything to do with anything other than people just don't have the money to pay their bills like they should. So I know you have been extremely busy in your organization, which, by the way, what is the name of the organization you with now?
The name of my organization is South Suburban Housing Center. We're at 18220 Harwood Avenue in Homewood, Illinois. And if you look on your screen, you can see my contact information for my email. And I've been over there for 6 years now.
Okay.
And the reason why I came out to the south suburbs was because the south suburbs was one of the hardest hit uh, counties, areas, and my director needed someone that could help them deal with the foreclosure crisis there, to help people intervene with their lenders to help negotiate modifications, other workout solutions, liquidation options such as short sales, deed and lose, and if they want to do full sales, we had to come in and work with the homeowners because a lot of times we were their last hope.
Hmm. So now with the, I know you executed a lot of the Corona funds, as we call them, quote unquote, that was available during the last year and a half. So are they still putting out Corona funds now, or is that over with?
What I want before I answer that question,
Uh huh.
um, what I wanted to backtrack a little bit
Okay.
because I was talking about the foreclosure crisis. I want to emphasize something to you and to your listeners is that that particular crisis is not over.
Mm.
We were still in that crisis when the pandemic hit, coming to the working out things. So it's not totally over. People were still underwater in their homes. People were still uh, reeling from those effects. Then the pandemic hit. So now all of the funds that were being utilized or implemented for that particular crisis now had to be shifted toward the pandemic. So the courts have suspended, and they're about to pick up after July 30th, and that's a key that's a key date, July 30th. And when that happens, all of the how can they say it? They're gonna release the hounds. So
Hmm.
all the hounds are gonna come out, and they're gonna do what they can to try to push to liquidate or sell these homes in the foreclosure.
Mm.
The push for foreclosure sales. This is what we're facing. Now we want to talk about the crisis. Not only do we have to deal with the homeowners, but we also have many tenants that are facing homelessness in unprecedented numbers.
Hmm.
And we have the program that's going on right now, the Illinois rental payment program that is it was open for the landlords earlier this month. It's closed. It's already funded $70 million.
Hmm.
People getting checks right now up to $70 million. That's an actual figure, and you can find it on the ihda.org website. And that's going directly to landlords. As of yesterday at 9 o'clock, the tenants have the opportunity to apply for assistance on their own at ilrpp.org. They can get up to $25,000.
Mm.
Uh, 12, they'll pay up to 12 months of your back rent, three months going forward, and you may be able to get additional assistance with utility bills. But that's done to prevent homelessness.
Mm.
So now, as an agency, we're dealing with things twofold on the housing front. We're dealing with homeowners, and we're dealing with tenants. The other thing about homeowners, and I know that somebody's probably going to pose that question. There is emergency assistance or emergency mortgage assistance that's in place for homeowners. It just has not been put in motion yet for homeowners that were affected by COVID.
Okay.
So we will see that probably late summer, early fall. Where that's going to happen. I would encourage people to look at the ihda.org website for further information, or you can go to our website at southsuburbanhousingcenter.org. The other thing that I want to state that if you are not in a forbearance right now and you're listening, or you know someone that is listening, you can be placed in a COVID forbearance where your payments will be suspended uh, for up to for 3 months, but up to 1 year. And in some cases, they may be able to extend it out to 15 months, to where you won't be required to make payments. Credit reporting can be suspended, um, during that time. And then the other thing is that is that's over. If you haven't applied for that by June 30th, it's going to be too late to apply for those protections unless they extended it at the last minute and something I don't know about. That's what we were told. So uh, you won't be required. You can come out of this of the forbearance. You won't be required to make any payments. They're either going to modify your loan, give you a HUD partial claim, depending on the investor, or payment deferral.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Look, right,
it's
right, right. Quick, Miss Karen is leaving us, and she wanted to say thank you for giving value and help to Robert Sanders. So many people are in crisis in so many places, now compounded by the pandemic. I do have to depart. Great and necessary information. Thank you. She's all the way over in Australia. So I just
You're
wanted,
welcome, Karen.
yeah,
You're welcome.
you know. So I know she probably wish you was in her backyard, but you ain't. Yeah, we're still getting a little feedback. I don't know if that's you or if that's
It-
Fiona. Somebody's giving us some feedback here.
it's not me. I'm completely muted.
Okay,
Well, I turned mine down. I don't know.
let's see.
I'm completely muted and thing turned down.
Okay, all right. Just checking because I don't want people to get distracted by the audio problem. Because we got great information here, and I want to make sure that people able to get this information. Because I hearing myself come back at me, and I know I shouldn't be. Let me try this a little bit.
And change to not even feel it no more. You forget
Hello?
that. I'm here.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. How's that? Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, good.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
here.
Okay, good. All right, Miss Fiona. I know you got questions. You always do. You know.
uh, I do. Um, First, hi, Mr. Sanders, and thank you for being on the show today. Um, you're talking about the COVID-19 and how a lot of people are, still needing help. If we could flip, if we could just flip the angle. I saw something the other day on television, and the gentleman was saying how he's ready to buy his house, and he gave the date of July 30th, and he was saying because a lot, total opposite of what you said, because a lot of people are in forbearance and houses are gonna, be lost through the COVID and stuff. Would you suggest buying a house in the next couple of months?
Right now, I'm glad you asked that question, Fiona. Right now, it's kind of like a mixed question, but right now is a good time to purchase a home because of the interest rates are low. But what
Hmm.
has happened as a result of that, it has spurred a boom in home buying. The equity is going up in houses. Okay, so when you see that, when everything is going good with the interest rates, guess what? That's possibly another bubble when you
Mm-hmm.
think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and once again, I'm speculating because that's what happened. If you remember the pre foreclosure, I know Ron does.
Hmm.
These houses were selling like crazy. They went up in value, and the equity was like a house that was like $100,000. Now was selling for 200 grand, 225. Then
Hmm.
all of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
bang! It popped, and people lost 50, 100,000 in equity in their homes in less than 6 months
Yep.
after the and this can happen again. That a lot of economists that have been reporting to Crane Chicago Business. If you read that, they're some of them are predicting another bust for people who purchase now. But it's a good time if because of the rates. Also, you have a lot of excellent programs that are out there. We have a pre-purchase department. Tanisha Brown is our program director. We have unprecedented numbers at our agency for people who have purchased homes
Mm-hmm.
because the state will give you $7,500 to purchase. That's just one of their programs. The state of Illinois have about 4 or 5 programs, even to help people. Some up to I think about 10. I'm not sure about this number, but it could be close to between $10,000 to $50,000 student loans
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
to help them to purchase. So people are taking opportunity of these special programs. Wind Trust, BMO Harris, um, Chase Bank, they have money set to the side to help people with down payment assistance programs that have helped to spur that. So, in reference to the gentleman you were speaking with, uh,
Mhm.
you know, if it's that house you're trying to get and it's that dream house, it may be a good thing for you to go and get it because the rates and things like that are good. But also understand that and take a home buyer course, take a pre-purchase course because then you're going to learn about the risk of home ownership. When you own a home, you definitely are taking a risk when you buy it. You got to you have to deal with so many other things besides just saying I own a house. You got if it needs repairs, you got natural disasters, you got so many things that can go wrong, and then you got taxes. In some areas, taxes are more than what your home your what it costs to pay for your home,
Yeah.
which to
Mhm.
me is which to me is totally ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of areas in the south suburbs where people are paying more, like Park Forest. People paying more for their taxes. And I'm not talking about $100 or two. I'm talking about they could be paying as much as $500 more on the tax end than they are for them to pay their principal and interest on their mortgages.
Yeah.
So you have to look at the big picture when it comes to that and understand something. You're going to be in that house for 30 years. You don't have the flexibility that you have when you were leasing or renting. Make sure it's a place where you know you want to settle down or where you want to be. If you're the kind of person that goes from job to job or likes to travel from city to city or whatever, home ownership may not be for you. You may want to keep renting. So
Mm.
it's just that was a good question you brought up.
Yeah. So Fiona, do you have your cell
Mhm.
phone on? Is your volume up on your cell phone?
No,
No. Okay.
they're both down.
Okay. I was just checking. Now, on that point right there, let me ask the question because I remember dealing with, like you say, beginning of next month, there's going to be a lot of foreclosures beginning to start up. And I remember once before, a lot of people were able to go and buy property on the courthouse steps, what they used to say. When no, because banks don't like to own property. So there was a lot of bank owned real estate that people were able to go buy pennies on the dollar. So would you say that type of technique will be available soon? Because there's going to be a lot of folks with $500,000 houses they've been sitting on and ain't been paying no payments on. They might be able to pick up $100,000 house, that at one point in time was valued at $500,000 or more. So would you say that would be a smart for thing for a person to do, whether they're an investor or just looking for their dream home? Because at one point in time, $500,000 house would have been somebody's dream home till they had to keep paying for it. It ain't a dream no more; it's a nightmare. So
Mhm.
that's something to think about. Would you say?
If you can pick up one, consider yourself very fortunate at this time. Right now, there is a housing shortage.
Mm-hmm.
So, with it being a housing shortage, and let's say you're gonna pick up something at the courthouse steps, the banks are selling properties now at a premium because they know that they know that they can get the money for it. So now, if you got a house that was $100,000, you got people bidding now $25,000 over what houses are coming up, even on the auction, to try to get a hold of some of these houses. That's if they go to auction. One thing, the foreclosure sales have slowed down because of the pandemic, because the president and the governor, they're trying to keep people in place. However, if you have a if your mortgage is held by a private entity that did not take any of the government funds, they don't have to adhere to government guidelines. So they will take you to court, and they will force your home to go to foreclosure sale. So there are still sales that are going on,
Mm-hmm.
and the sales of that type that you see that come across, and when they do, because of the glut of buyers now, and a high demand for housing, these houses are going. They're bidding like crazy. They're bidding wars that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Bidding wars on homes that's not in foreclosure, and bidding wars on homes that are in foreclosure.
Mm-hmm.
So the banks know they know that they got it's a seller's market, and when it's a seller's market, they know that they got a homeowner over a barrel as far as what they're able to do.
Mm-hmm. Got you. Jed said housing prices have about doubled out here in California. Also scary when you think of another bubble. So even in California, prices have doubled, in that housing market as well.
Well, say this. Um, you already know I work for Wells Fargo.
Mm-hmm.
For 14 years, I worked for Wells Fargo as their work director in their foreclosure department. And one thing about California, Detroit, Cleveland, New York, Philadelphia, I was able to witness this years ago. And then I looked at the assistance that was going out to different states for that was going on during the Obama administration.
Mm-hmm.
Los Angeles County was one of the hardest hit counties. I'm trying to think of the one in New York, where New York City is. New York City was one of the hardest hit, and Cook County. Those three areas were some of the hardest hit in the country. And if the president had not done what he had done in those three areas, it would have affected us in mass. So when they say that the housing value doubled in California, and they're saying that it's another bubble that's probably getting ready to happen, usually it happens there first before it happens anywhere else. They were hit very hard in California, and we were hit very hard in Cook County.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still reeling from those effects, and the government has done a lot in the past to try to help stem that tide. But to make matters worse, it's not really a problem when it affects African Americans.
Hmm. Say
It's
that.
not really a problem.
Say that.
But when it starts affecting blue collar workers in white America, then it becomes a problem,
Right.
or a pandemic or epidemic. And I know that if there's some that may be listening that may disagree, but I'm telling you that's something that's a fact. If you look at your geo tracks and you look at things like that, I'm gonna say this: 30, 39% of African Americans own their home. About 75% of white Americans own their home. Now, out of that 39%, how many do you think are losing their homes the most? Out of that 39%, and how many do you think is out of the 75%? Now, see, now y'all shaking your head, but see, I know the real numbers.
Right.
It's more of us losing our homes by double or triple amounts than it is out of that 75%.
Mm-hmm. And
That's what I'm. That's what I'm
and
trying to say.
and we had to go through way more. to get
to
a
get it.
house in the beginning. We had to show more money. We had to show more credentials. We had to do more to get in that house in the beginning to begin with than anybody else. So I totally understand what you're talking about. Housing industry has was one of the first places to get called onto the carpet about unfair practices, in selling houses. We don't want you in our neighborhood type stuff, that kind of thing. Okay.
Hmm.
Oh, there goes the neighborhood. If we got one, we're going to get two, So I definitely know exactly what you're talking about. I didn't mean to cut you off, Miss Fiona. I know you got more stuff to ask them.
No, that's fine. I'm learning and listening at the same time. Uh, could you speak about, just to speak it to people, I once was told about the chase between living in the city and living in the suburbs. Do you think that more people are now trying to move towards the city than live in the suburbs and own homes?
um, Based on the trend that I'm seeing,
Hmm.
um, in the area where I know where I live in Chicago, I'll say less than a mile, say a mile, mile and a half from where President Obama's house is, and I'm in Hyde Park area. But when you look at the outlying areas going into Washington Park, East Woodlawn, and even some portions of Woodlawn, we see more more African Americans going out, and we see more Asians, Caucasians. They're moving in at a record pace. What used to be 99.9% black is now about 48 to 50% white now.
Mm,
And then you have your Asians and African Americans and Hispanic people that fall into the other category. Well, you also see there's an uptick in building new homes, new construction, and I'm talking about in Woodlawn.
Hmm.
Over just west, just east of Ingleside, you have $700,000 homes going up. 700,000. If you go down 63rd Street and you go to Stony Island, those places over there are $400,000 by Brazier's Church.
yeah, and they
Some of
built
those,
and they
those
built those, didn't they?
and they built those. That was
Yes.
new construction, right where the Black Pea Stone Nation
Right.
used to run. The Blackstone Rangers. Ron know what I'm talking
Yeah, I
about.
know what you're talking
Uh, and they
about.
had the L train. You can't even buy over there
Right.
unless you are making a six-figure income.
Yeah. And
So
and they built those places for low income families.
that's right. They built those. They were supposedly built for low-income families,
That's
but
right.
that's a whole nother issue. That's a whole nother issue by itself. Cause see, this is the area where I live in, so that's a whole different. Ron. That's another. Uh,
Another show. We got to do that on
that's
another show.
another. That is another
Yeah,
show that
yeah,
you
yeah.
talk
But
about that. I have to get my.
supposedly, we're gonna leave it like that.
I had to get my
Supposedly.
statistics. Yeah,
Sup-
supposedly. But then
supposedly.
But we see that happening over there. We see it happening in portions of the west side. We also see it happening in going in the city when you go, you know, in Bronzeville. You see that happening, and we're slowly losing our lakefront. We used to have lakefront. If you go down 79th Street, Rainbow Beach, all of that, we are slowly losing um, the prime land.
Hmm.
So that's what I see on the horizon, and I see people coming from the suburbs because it's an easier commute to commute if you live in the city and you work downtown. A lot of people, because of the pandemic, are moving closer to where their headquarters are and working from home. And
Mhm.
if you're off the green line, if you're off the not far from the red line, if you're around the metro lines in the city, you're only minutes away from where your headquarters are. So you're seeing a whole different dynamic of housing shift in the demographics and the races. You're seeing a shift
Mhm.
in that.
Yeah.
So to answer that question, I hope I answered that,
Mhm.
shed some light. You look like you learned something.
I am. I
But
am.
what
I'm
what
always
I'm
Yeah.
trying to.
talking to you about is actually it's true.
Yeah. Now,
I
now,
agree.
now, now, let me cut across you right here, Fiona, because we ain't got but
Mhm.
15 minutes left in this show. Okay, time goes by when you're putting out knowledge like this. I
Mhm.
want to fast forward to some of the programs that your organization right now, right this minute, today, if they emailed you, they can get information on and instruction on what to do to take advantage of what's available right now, what's still left available, whether it's Corona programs or whether it's like you said, we had problems before Corona hit, and because you and I talked about this, there were still people in trouble before Corona, and now that Corona hit, it took precedence, but yet they still in trouble. So your organization and you specifically help people, and we're working on helping people prior to Corona. So what do they need to come after now? What's available? What's going on? Give them the 411.
All right. I'm gonna give you that answer that real quick, but I also want to say something that the other epidemic crisis that has faced us is this appraisal crisis. In Chicago, we have people, and in the suburbs, we have people of color whose houses are being appraised lower than people in other neighborhoods. So at our agency, we're seeking people who have felt that that has happened to them because we're tracking those because there are Redfin and other um, internet internet what they call those valuation programs. These people have been sued because they
Mhm.
value properties, identical properties, but they're just in different neighborhoods. Like in Lincoln Park, a property for the same. You got if you had a Greystone in Lincoln Park, we're
Mm-hmm.
talking $1 million. But you go get a Greystone in Bronzeville, you may be talking about 300,000.
Mm.
That's a huge disparity.
Yeah.
So we're looking at things like that. To answer your question, South Suburban Housing Center, we are a regional fair housing agency. So we people investigate people who discriminate against any of the protected classes, such as race, gender, um, you know, LGBTQ, disability, any of those things. If you're denied credit, if you're denied housing, if you're denied rental, and you feel that you have been discriminated against, we investigate those issues. So once again, you see my email at the bottom of the screen. But the number to our agency is 708 if you wanted to contact us via phone. The other thing that you wanted to know what services that we offer pre-purchase counseling, post-purchase counseling, mortgage delinquency counseling. That is, if you are behind on your mortgage or anticipate falling behind on your mortgage, we counsel you um, to give you options as to what you can do to work with your lender. And we will work with you to help you until you come out of that situation, until you get an outcome. We don't just start with you and then drop you off and drop you in a hole and tell you bye. But we follow it all the way through. We do foreclosure intervention counseling. If your home is in foreclosure, and I'm going to say this too, in foreclosure, and also if you're behind and you're in a forbearance right now, this is the time when you need to seek out a counselor so that you can get those next steps and information that you need um, to work with your lender. The lenders always look out for their best interests. You need to look out for your own best interests, and that's what we do as housing counselors. Um, and the best thing about all that is our services are free. We're a HUD approved agency. And I'm going to say it again, our services are free, 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 free.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
glad you said that 2, 3 times because people need to hear that. You know,
Yep.
they ain't got to pay to talk to you.
no, you don't have to pay to talk to
They might have to stand in line to talk to you, but they ain't got to pay to talk to you when they get to the
me.
front.
He picking on me in the past because he had to track me down a couple times. Oh man, but he's right. We're quite busy right now, so you're gonna have to put some skin in the game. So we'll let you know what to do. If we don't reach out to me on email, reach out to me on the phone. I will get back with you now. But he's right. We don't charge anything to anyone, and that's what makes us busy. Our agency also, Ron, in 2019 and also in 2020, we were the top agency. They haven't had another one because of the pandemic, so we're still the top agency in the state as far as housing counseling agencies go. So if you look on the HUD.gov website, you go into Illinois, you're going to see South Suburban Housing Center is listed there. If you go into the IDA website, you're going to see us there too as well.
Yeah,
And those are just the core services that we provide at our agency. I
yeah.
was trying to consolidate that and get it in a short form.
There you go. Now let me ask you a hypothetical question. What's the likelihood, and I know you don't know for sure, what's the likelihood of programs like Section 8 becoming more effective in our communities and they beginning to start opening up new vouchers and things like that?
Um, it's that question is hard for me to answer because I really don't deal with the Section 8 since you brought that up. But one thing I can tell you that is happening is we're seeing people go from Section 8 to transition to become homeowners.
Mm-hmm.
So there are programs out there um, that work with people, especially those that are in affordable housing that have the housing choice vouchers. That if they're working and have the low to median income, they have programs out that's designed to help those families transition into home ownership.
Yeah.
But in terms of housing choice vouchers opening up to more people, uh, I haven't heard of anything like that happening. The lists are still long. If you are a senior or a person with a disability, um, you do have some perks there to some special considerations given to that. I do know that.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I asked that question because I know that vouchers have been, like you said, helpful for some people with being able to get reasonable housing in decent neighborhoods and to be able to help them move from just a voucher into home ownership. So I didn't know if there was anything that looked like in the whisper stream that agency would step up and do what they can to help people that are eligible for those type of programs. So that's why I asked
Mhm.
that question. Yeah. So, Miss Fiona, you got something else for him? We got about 5 minutes left because he talk a long time. Okay.
Okay, one last question. Um, when thinking of African Americans owning more homes or wherever they choose to, whatever their choice is, can more than one applicant be on the loan to purchase a house?
Yes,
And
yes.
do you know?
More than one person can be on the loan. Um,
Okay.
it can be. It can be a husband, a wife, or it can be a child. I've seen three of on alone in the house. So, but usually you would see a husband and wife or a significant other, or it can be, a child and not a child, but an adult
Mhm.
child and a parent.
Yeah.
So yes,
It couldn't be, and what should have been like a little bit more specific. It couldn't be like three brothers on alone, or like up to how many people?
it can be brothers. It can be three brothers or three siblings. And like I don't know the exact amount, but I have seen, 3 or 4 people on a property or on a deed. I've seen that happen, and especially in a lot of your Hispanic neighborhoods, you'll see they'll come together like that.
Mm.
Um, notably, one I know that was in a three flat, and they had one, two, three, four. They had 5 people on the note, but they all lived in the three flat building. One lived on one, and one lived on the other, and the other person lived up top. So, um, hey, that was a perfect living arrangement. Matter of fact, it was in Auburn Gresham where they were on work. So that's 5 people.
Mhm. Okay. I always wanted to know that, and put that in the air. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, my brother Robert. We got about 3 minutes left here. What is it that you would like to leave with the people before we come off the air today?
What I like to say to people, number one, don't if you're in a situation to where you have fallen behind or where you're trying to work things out, don't give up on your house. If you're gonna fight for anything, you fight for your family. You fight, in some cases with your money, and you fight for your house where you live, where you have spent your money and where you spent your time. And remember, you're not in the fight by yourself. You do have help that's out there. We're here to help you or to lead you to where you need to go. Um, and and the other thing is know that you have resources that are out there. One thing I can say about Dr. Ron is big on resources. He gets his little network of people and find out whatever he needs to find out, even if it's not for himself. He can refer other people. So he's one of the he'll call me and say, "Hey man, anything else out there that's new, or whatever." It may not even be for himself. So you have to know what's out there that's available to you. The Bible says that my people perish for the lack of knowledge. We don't know, and also too, you gotta ask. You know, ask, find out what's out there. If you don't know, call me. If you don't know, call me and say, Mr. Sanders, we need to know what's out there. I'll tell you if it's something out there, if it's not, and or if it's coming. So, you know, those are the last little I guess, tidbits that I can say, and to tell you to be encouraged. That's the most important thing I can say. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
Amen. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that. Miss Fiona, what you got for the people this week?
I'm full off of what he said. I'm speechless.
You
That was great.
speechless. A woman that's
Yeah,
speechless.
it's possible. See, keep
Uh-huh.
looking into the light.
Look, you filled her cup, bro. She good for that. You lucky she didn't start crying, because she will cry.
Ah.
Well, look,
Oh boy.
I want to thank my brother, Mr. Robert Sanders. His information has been scrolling on the screen here all through this entire show. I want to thank him for taking time out of his busy schedule to come out and be with me. It took him 10 years to get back here. We're not going to make another 10-year wait before he comes back. We're going to get him back on soon. We're going to try and keep him on regularly. So he's always got something positive and good to say, good information. And I appreciate him, and I can't thank him enough for being a part of what we're doing over here at the Ask Dr. Ron show. Please go over to my website, ask-dr-ron.com. Please support all of our vendors. Go up to the top, check out the YouTube channel. This show will be up there. Stay there. Don't go nowhere, Robert. Don't go nowhere.
I'm not going
All
nowhere.
right, I see you trying to get out of here. I know you got somewhere to go.
No, I just lost my headset.
Okay. Go up to the top of and click on the YouTube channel. This show will be up there within about an hour from now. We're gonna put it on YouTube so you can share it. His number, once again, give me your number again.
The number is 708-957-4674.
Now call him, y'all. Don't let him off the hook. He didn't gave out his number now. Call him up. Robert
My
Sanders.
my extension is 107.
There you go. He ain't hiding. All right. Well,
No,
look,
not
we
hiding.
got to get out of here because we're a few minutes over. But I cannot thank you enough, my brother. Y'all, please shout out to Cortez Mack. He said hello, Miss Fiona, and myself. So we see
Oh,
him.
that's
We
my
gonna,
friend.
yeah,
That's my friend. Hey, Cortez, that's my
yeah.
brother. That's my
Cortez has
friend.
been on the show many times himself, and man, he keeps coming back, shouting us out. But look, you all, we need you all to support over at our website. We also need your support right here. We have a place where you can make donations. All of our donation information is right there. Please support us. We need your help. We're trying to keep bringing good, positive information to you that you can't get no place else. So you guys, please support us. And we're going to see y'all on Sunday. Peace. Stop in on us on Thursday. Street News Now. Check us out over there. See y'all. Peace.